guys, Jordan here. In this video, I want to walk you through all the steps of making a mock-up for a brand called Fitness with Lauren Cade. So this is the mock-up that we're going to be going through together, filling it in, making it pretty, making it fit the brand, and I have the brand here. A page of just assets for the brand that I can pull from. So whenever we do a mock-up, it's always Photoshop in one tab with the mock-up and Adobe Illustrator with some kind of assets from the brand in the other tab. So the first thing that I am going to want to do for this mock-up is typically I like to decide on my background color first. If I'm trying to think of like what kind of a mock-up do I need, the background is typically what is going to be adjacent to other images that I have. It's going to be the biggest, most prominent thing about the mock-up. So for this, what I want is to capitalize on this really nice pink color. So what I typically do first is I am just going to grab a whole section from my assets. For you, this doesn't have to be as complicated as like a full square board. It could just be the brand colors and maybe one of the logos, but I like to grab something that has all my brand colors in it and paste that at the top of my Adobe Photoshop page, just to kind of keep it in the corner and have a reference point. So now that I have that from there, I can go in, click on the background, find where I can change the background color over here under my layers, and I'm just going to grab that pink color for our background. And press OK on that. The other reason that I really like to have a reference for while I'm working on my mock-up kind of in the corner is because sometimes mock-up creators have a lot of weird shadows applied to like the background or the mock-up elements, the cards, whatever it may be. So sometimes if you select a color directly, it won't look quite right. Like it'll look a little off, and if it does, I could go in and kind of manually adjust to make it look more like that color, if that makes sense. But this is looking good to me when I look at my brand colors. So that is what we have for the background, and I like to do the background first for the reasons I said, but also because then it kind of informs what I can and can't do for my objects. Like I'm not gonna want, since I want this, deep medium pink tone to be that primary background of the mock-up, that means I'm not going to go in and do multiple of those medium pink tones, that same pink color. I'm probably not going to do any of that pink color, that exact one, in these cards. So it just helps take some of the guesswork out and give you something to go off of. So what I want to do is, for this card then, let's complement this deep pink with this lighter pink tone here. So I'm going to click on my top card, find where the smart object is closest to that. Looks like it's this one. And I want a logo with that lightest pink color in my brand, so I'm going to go back to my Adobe Illustrator, and I am going to grab something that I already have with that pink background color. Now, if you don't have something, a logo with the background color that you want, of course you can you're already in your assets page in Adobe Illustrator, so you can just go ahead and make that. But I already have one here, so I'm just going to copy that. Come over here. Oops. And I'm just going to drag that out. And since it doesn't fill everything, I'm going to go to add a color fill here, solid color, and we can just select that directly. I'm going to save this and see how that looks. So the way that this mock-up is, it looks like it is tilting it, so I've got to go back here and turn this logo. I'm going to hold down shift and just rotate it. See if that's better. Saving. Yep, that is the direction that I want it. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. And that looks good to me. All right. So I know that I want to feature the kind of funky pattern that we have for this brand somewhere in this mock-up. So I'm going to do that in this back card here. Just because I don't want it to overwhelm. It's a pretty crazy pattern. I don't want it to overwhelm the mock-up, and you can only see this card a little bit, so I want to put that in the back. So I'm going to go back to my Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to find an instance of my pattern, and I'm going to bring that in. Clicking on my card, finding the nearest smart object there, pasting that in, sizing it up, saving that and seeing how it fits. That looks good to me. And then for this middle card, I want to do something with that lightest white tone, just because we've got constant color going on in this mock-up. I want to give it a little bit of a break. So I'm going to go click on this card, find that closest smart object, and let's do this. Again, just finding a logo that already has that background color that you want, or just putting a logo for the brand on that background color that you want. You can kind of see that as I'm thinking through this, I'm really thinking about it a lot in terms of the background color first, and then we can figure out what has to go on that background color. I find that that's a very helpful way for me to do mock-up. So I already know from what we did before that this mock-up creator has it so that you have to tilt it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I want it just poking out the side because you can't see this whole card. I think this is going to be the right side. Let's see though. I'm going to go in and add a solid color again to match that. Let's see if that is the right side. It is the right side, but you can see it's a little too cut off, so let's make that smaller. See if we can fit the whole thing in the image. Looks pretty good to me. Alright. This clip is an object that, of course, I can't put a logo on, but sometimes the mockup creator will have the ability to adjust its color. If it's a standalone object, which in this case it is, so I am going to adjust that. I try not to make anything like a crazy wonky out of the realm of possibility color, because to me that takes the reality out of the mock-up. So like I just grabbed that yellow because I think we could use a little bit more of that yellow in the mock-up, but this is looking too yellow to me. Like a clip would never be that color. So I'll normally try to adjust it manually in my color picker to something that would be a little bit more authentic. So if I just like dim that down a little bit, now it's starting to look like a gold paper clip, which is definitely something that you can have. So I'm going to keep that rather than doing the full-on, like very saturated gold color, just dimming it down a little bit. Keeps that kind of gold reference in there without having to be exact, and that'll keep the realism to the mock-up as well. So that is looking really good to me. Then I'm going to click on my reference image, hide that, and that is my final mock-up. I hope that that's helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. We have a whole collection about making mock-ups and thinking through these sorts of things. If you have anything you want me to go further into, definitely feel free to leave a comment. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, give it a thumbs up. Yeah, I hope that that is helpful.